Hello and welcome. For those that are joining us and for those that will join a little bit later, there's a lot to cover here. I'm trying to condense a 5-hour, one-day workshop into an hour. Okay, so we'll get started. This particular talk is called New World, New Business Fundamentals. It's a topic that I just came up with. And I actually am adapting a one-day workshop that I created about a month and a half ago. And I'm not really adapting it, but it's interesting. This was put together a month and a half ago. I'm not doing the whole thing, obviously, because there's a lot to cover. So the starting point of new business fundamentals is as follows. The first topic is, there'll be 3 sessions and then, 3 headings and 5 subsections in each session. Introduction, the 4th Industrial Revolution and how to be disruptive. So at the moment, people think that the 4th Industrial Revolution is robots, robotics, automation with cars talking to you, flying cars, buses, aeroplane buses, like proper hardcore, hectic stuff. And it's too much. I have a totally opposite view on the matter. I believe that we are currently in the 4th Industrial Revolution. In fact, the 4th Industrial Revolution is actually quite simple. It is your ability as a layman or a laywoman to be able to have everything at your disposal for almost no cost whatsoever. You've got your cell phone in your pocket. You can reach out to as many people as you want. It pretty much doesn't cost you anything. If you want to start a business, you can go online, you can do a Google search, you can find out documents that you need. If you need to phone people overseas, you can phone them for free almost, on certain platforms. So in essence, the 4th Industrial Revolution is allowing the normal person to be able to interact as a big corporate for the first time ever. Normally, if you wanted to start a business, you would have needed to go to the bank, get a massive loan, and then get a factory, and you don't need to do any of that. So the 4th Industrial Revolution really is that anybody can be an entire business at no cost whatsoever. Okay. The 4th Industrial Revolution incorporates 3 things. Technology we use today, which is better than before. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Okay. Secondly, the way that we interact with our clients and colleagues digitally. Gone are the days you used to have to sit at your office on a telephone, fax machines. The whole interaction is completely more digital. And in fact, let's not forget, this was written a month and a half ago before everyone was forced to work digitally. And thirdly, and I think very importantly, what it actually incorporates the 4th Industrial Revolution is how we treat those that we work with. This is a totally new concept of actually wanting those that you work with to do yoga, wanting them to be happy, caring about their families, their lifestyle. How can you have a creche inside the office? This is a 4th Industrial Revolution thinking process. Okay, so the first topic is not only about the 4th Industrial Revolution, but also about how to be disruptive or being a disruptor. Being a disruptor either means being an expert in your field or adapting your experience from elsewhere and being a total outsider. So if you actually want to be a disruptor, you have to know something about the subject matter. You're going to say, I want to disrupt the laundry business, laundry industry. I'm going to go buy laundry folding machines in a particular country, and I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to disrupt the whole laundry industry because you don't know anything about the laundry industry. If, however, you were an engineer that was actually the one creating those machines, different story. What is the mindset of a disruptor? It's a long topic, but I think that the easiest way to explain what is the mindset of a disruptor, because it's something I've grappled with to try and actually verbalize. The easiest to mention is the Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger didn't wait for a posse. He wasn't part of the sheriff's posse. He went it alone. He had a horse. You've got your cell phone, your laptop. The mindset of the Lone Ranger is there's a problem. The village people are screaming. Ride in there, sort them out, beat up the bandits, and ride away. Now, if we're looking at an industry that has been disrupted, I mean, you've got your obvious ones like your Ubers and your Airbnbs and so on. But if we're looking at another example of an industry that was disrupted, if we look at windsurfing, what we'll find is that you had a big board with a big pole and a big sail. The most exciting thing you can do with air, with wind, water, and sport. Okay. They didn't make a bigger board with a bigger sail and a bigger pole to go higher and faster. They changed the way that they interacted with the environment, and they created kite surfing. So windsurfing was disrupted by kite surfing. So what does that mean? Well, they made the smaller board. They changed, instead of using a sail, you use the lines. They use a kite. It's significantly riskier, but you can go 6 stories instead of 4 meters. And the girls, the ladies, couldn't carry the big boards to the water. You couldn't go with friends on a holiday windsurfing. You couldn't put the boards anywhere. So as soon as kite surfing came in, it pretty much disrupted windsurfing. That's what disruption is about. It's not bigger, better, faster. It's about changing the way that you interact with the environment. Also, disruption is about tapping into cloud platforms like AWS. It used to be that the big corporates, you would say to them, you're bigger than me. I can't compete with you. That's no longer the case. You are no longer bigger than me, because platforms like AWS allow the small person to be able to have a big server in the basement without spending the $1 million. That's proper disruption, is leaning on platforms like that. We talk about the paperless office. The paperless office is the 4th industrial revolution. I try not to print anything for a year. Then you're actually running a paperless office. Section 2, the organized collaborative business model and how it can work for you. What is an organized collaborative? Okay. So normally, if you're going to start a business with your colleagues, you've got like 3 or 4 different options. You've got a big corporate. You're an employee, you work in a big corporate, everyone knows that. You also have a small boutique corporate. So what that means is a group of people get together, you get some funding, you have your rental, and you hire some employees. The managers, the owners get most of the money. That's a small boutique corporate. Then you can be an independent, a total independent. You're a gig economy worker. You then interact with platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, etc., Uber. You're an independent. And then you have something known as an organized collaborative. And an organized collaborative takes independents and organizes them and brings them together. They work under the shell organization of the business. The business does the marketing and the contract, and it's an organized collaborative of independent contractors that all work together as a big corporate. Okay, those are the 4. So I can't go into too much detail because we've got quite a lot to cover for another day. How does one fund and start the above 4 examples? Well, really, if you're looking at a corporate, none of us are going to open a massive corporate like that. But the small boutiques, it's the same thing. Normally you would get a loan. You would need rental, office space. You'd need to be able to have salaries covered. The organized collaborative says that, in fact, that is not the case. Is that everybody earns a commission on what they're involved in. It's totally different. You don't have to have a kitty to get started. The organized collaborative also allows what we call in our business, which is called virtual actuary, what is known as the virtual actuary, peer review, nurturing system for scalability, and annuity income pipeline building. Try to say that 12 times backwards. Very complicated, but what it means is that the independents work together where normally they wouldn't, and the juniors work underneath the seniors and allow the seniors to take on more clients and apportion some of the money from those clients down to the juniors. 4 or 5 years down the line, each senior has a portfolio of clients and a team of juniors that work underneath him. This is a peer review nurturing system for scalability of the independence and an annuity income pipeline for the seniors. That's how it works. What admin documents and processes does an organized collaborative need in order to operate as a shell structure? Well, you would need your contracts with all the clients. You would need these are called terms of business, very complicated documents to put together. You also need the contract with each contractor. You also need the contracts that you would have with your suppliers. Looks like we've got a screaming baby coming. We'll deal with that as it comes. You also need your contracts with your suppliers to be in place. You need contracts with bank accounts. You need contracts with bank accounts. You need your SaaS stuff to be up and running with your CIPC. Everything that you have from a contract and document perspective, the organization has to have. This then allows the independents to tap into that. Okay. What lifestyle ethos and care for your well-being does a collaborative promote, and how does it differ from a normal corporate? A normal corporate, you work here, you come in, they try and have, running, events. But I think an organized collaborative is more of a lifestyle. It's more about, tell us a little bit about your family. How can we interact with you in your environment? Sometimes you have a screaming baby. What can you do? You push on. So what it means is that we want you to be healthy. We want you to do well. If you do well from a lifestyle perspective, we'll do well. Okay. Give an example of the publishing industry and how the department unit heads could break away and form a collaborative. So if we had to look at, let's say, the publishing industry, because, what's an example of a collaborative? Well, imagine you had 5 people that were the department heads in a publishing industry. The one person does the copy and the actual writing of the articles, or creating the content if it's video content. The other person deals with sales. The other person deals with admin and operational banking type stuff. And the other person, I don't know, they're in the HR department. So if those people work in a big publishing company, then what happens is they're all on salaries and they're pretty much running the publishing company. It's as simple as that. But if they all broke away and opened a collaborative, then yes, when the money does come into the business, they will split it accordingly. It's exactly the same as them working at a big corporate. Money eventually comes in and they get the money, but they get it as salaries. It's a little bit different in how collaborative works. Okay, we'll move on. Another thing about an organized collaborative, which is different from independents working alone, is the quality of the work. It's probably, I've got here, there's nothing more important than the quality of the service. Because you're a big business. People come to you as a reliable service provider. And so you can't just stuff it up. You have to be reliable. I've got you actually understanding the client's needs and being suggestive. You are being paid to be an expert and find gaps. Peer review by senior actuaries, in our case, is what sets an organized collaborative apart from individual workers. Having an integrated incentive scheme which incentivizes the actuaries to keep the admin side of the business optimal, because a lot of it is admin intensive, and making sure you only accept the right type of person into the collaborative, a team player who is reliable. This is really about thinking about quality. You can't just be a flippant organization or a flippant collaborative. It's never going to work. You make mistakes, the clients will never buy from you. And then in South Africa, there's something known as Practice Note 35 from a revenue perspective, where you have to, if you're dealing with contractors, if they are what is known as a personal services provider, you have to hold back the revenue, the SARS, South African Revenue Services tax, on behalf of the contractor. If you get that wrong, and the money just goes straight out and you don't pay the tax on it, it's a big problem. So you have to really keep that in mind if you form a collaborative. It's a long conversation to have. Okay, section 3. I hope you're enjoying some of the nuggets. There's a lot of nuggets here. So let's see. I do have presentations and actual slides and videos, but unfortunately we don't have time. The lean mindset and flash teams. If we look at Amazon, they're a perfect example of a lean mindset. They didn't need the office space. They didn't need the retail space. They've absolutely killed the retail industry because their whole mindset was about lean. I remember when I asked Jeff Bezos, well, how come you are opening up distribution factories? And he said, it's about the customer. It's not about having a brick and mortar business. That person just did not understand what he meant by the lean mindset. Is it even possible? Because what I'm basically saying is you need to be a lean business in this day and age. I mean, how much more so today, these days? Imagine you had all these expenses. You're stuck at home now anyway. The question is asked, is it even possible for a company that is not watching its expenses to compete with a company that does not spend on lavish parties, business class travel, and expensive giveaways? Very difficult to compete with a company that doesn't have that stuff. Why do clients benefit from our business virtual actually operating as a lean business? Well, we give them amazing rates because we don't have to load on the expenses. There's a lot of examples as to why, but they benefit significantly from us being a lean business. What are flash teams according to Stanford University? So Stanford University did a thesis recently, and pretty much what they did was they took websites like Upwork, Fiverr, and gig economy type platforms, and they automated the process. Adam, switch your video off. Thanks. Jeez, I can't believe I saw that. God, thank God he was wearing something. So they did a study, and what they said was that they can automate the process of buying from these platforms by forming these flash organized automated teams that scale up and scale down. Very interesting concept, a little bit similar to what we do eventually once we build our platform and it's more automated. But I also picked up that they had a bit of a flaw in their system because it was just a theory. They're not really operating as a flash team like we are in a way. We come in, we do the work 3, 4, 5, 6 months, boom, we're out. We scale up, we scale down. So what they had that was a little bit wrong was that at any stage, because it wasn't an organized flash team, they didn't have a mothership that was taking care of all the important things and making important decisions, where to go, where not to go. The problem is you could have a rogue element that comes into the flash automated team, because they were basically saying that if you need work to be done, then those that are already working will just ask for it and it will just happen. But what happens if somebody wants to take the client away and they make out as if they need work to be done, and the flash team goes off track? So that's why it needs to be an organized flash team. It's a very important point. Okay, and why are flash teams more appealing? A flash team is more appealing because you can scale it up, you can scale it down, you can switch it on, switch it off, you can change direction. We've had projects that had to change direction. They were very fortunate. We were very flexible. If they had a full-time team in the office, they would have had to hire people. It's not a flash team. Flash teams are the future, in my opinion. Section 4, millennials, how to attract and manage them. How has the work culture and ethos been up until now? Well, the work culture is you work here, we tell you what to do, we don't like riffraff. You either fit into our culture, you must go. And people, what used to happen is people would work at a company back in the day, 5, 6 years. These days it doesn't work that way. Why doesn't it work that way? Why is the work culture different now? And why do millennials feel they have more options? Because they do have more options. Now, if they don't like you, they don't like the way you're doing things, well, thank you very much and goodbye. I'm more important than you. That's their feeling. Back in the day, finding a job was very, very difficult. These days, you can reach out, sort of, and you've got way more options. Your ability to find work is way better. So, it's the quick in and out. If they don't like you, thank you very much. So they do have more options. You have to understand how to work with millennials. You can't have a negative mindset towards them. How has the instant gratification world impacted millennials' desire to make a difference and not be stuck in one job for too long? I'm not going to go into too much about that, but they want to make a difference. Do you understand? Because they're very important. Because there's a lot of people making a difference, and if you don't stand for something, well, they're not wrong. Maybe they just need to be guided in how they can make a difference and still not stuff the whole damn thing up. Millennials expect amazing things as normal. They don't know that in the past there weren't as many options. It's not that they are ungrateful. They have been brought up to expect disruption as how things should be. I mean, look around you. Things are chopping and changing nonstop. This is totally normal to them. What you need to do is you need to change your business to interact with the millennials' lifestyles. Expecting them to follow your work rules will cause them to not want to stick around. Understand that millennials want to show off where they work and what they do. You need to encourage an Instagram-friendly environment. Now, this was before 3 weeks ago when we were all working from home. So my point was really put up props, let them take pictures, let them be proud of where they work. It's very, very important. If you don't understand that, then what the hell are you doing? You're just not going to attract the right kind of people into your business if you don't get that. I don't mean to lecture you. Okay, so now, if you're looking to manage millennials, you need to understand the mindset of somebody that needs to manage millennials. And I've got here the pulling a trailer mentality. And this is how it works. You're driving a car, you have a trailer behind you, you change the way that you drive the car. You need to take wider corners. Imagine you put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trailers behind you. It becomes tricky. Now, the new age manager that really needs to manage the environment is the opposite. The trailers are in front. Imagine pushing 5 trailers in front of you in the way that they zigzag. I mean, if you've ever tried to reverse a trailer, the thing is skew, it doesn't work. Well, that's what a new age boss needs to do. They need to learn how to push the trailers from behind and still not scrape anything. Very, very difficult. Self-reliance. You as a brand. Now listen to this. This was before COVID-19 kicked in. Customers used to buy from a consultancy. I'm using a consultancy as an example. And who did the work was inconsequential. Now they want to rather give the work to, say, Tina, who they trust, where she works is inconsequential. Tina as a brand. Okay, now she broke away, and I'm not going to explain too much about this. We'll never get through stuff, but you cannot hide behind. I literally wrote this about a month and a half ago. You cannot hide behind your company's image and spend your evenings on your couch. You cannot rely on your business being there for you. You need to be the one directing who you know, so that if you need to find other work, you can tap into the channels you have established. How about that? How do you begin the process of being you as a brand? Well, you've got to go onto platforms like LinkedIn, make it smart, prop it up with what you've been involved in. You need to create the you as a brand. You can't be hiding behind your business. Your business won't be there. And look around you. You as a brand also goes deeper. It means having to actually be healthy and looking and feeling good. People can notice if your brand looks active and reliable or lazy and unreliable. Your brand must stand for something. But for it to have credibility, you need to be doing things that hold water and are tangible. Just talking about what you as a brand stands for is not living the brand. It is just a big talker talking about a brand. Do things, make your brand real. For example, if you believe in feeding the hungry, actually volunteer at a soup kitchen. Stop with all the virtue signaling. It's pathetic. Self-reliance means learning how to navigate your way around a computer, smartphone, and the internet. Now, when I conceptualized this, it was for people that actually don't really know that. For those that don't know that. So that was a very important point. And now I've updated it slightly. So now in lockdown, here's an example of self-reliance. This might hold water for some or not. Now in lockdown, if you were used to having a pool service, servicing your pool, you're probably totally lost in keeping your pool looking good. If your default was, I want to learn, you would have learned how to manage your own pool. It's about a default. What is your default? Oh, I'll just outsource it, no problem. And now you don't know what you're doing because you're not self-reliant. Okay. Social influencers, you as a brand. Social influencers and how a 14, 15, 16-year-old can earn millions posting videos on Instagram or YouTube, promoting hair care products to their 21 million followers. It's unprecedented. They are a brand. It's not a fly-by-night. This is a mindset. Networking, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Networking takes many forms. I hope everyone's enjoying this. I don't know how many people are logged in. It's probably better for me to not even check. I hope some people plugged in. Networking takes many forms. Social networks, talking to the right people about work-related stuff. Stop talking about sport. Having contact numbers and using WhatsApp, free. However, the ethics of presenting yourself online, your online persona, look and feel in your Zoom studio, this is called corporate professionalism. It's a stock standard. You can't be looking like you're sitting in your bathroom or your kitchen. This is corporate professionalism. You're networking. You're supposed to be a business person, not talking about social life. There is an etiquette to networking. People don't like to feel like they're being sold to. Have some class. If you're connecting with people, don't send them a message immediately about your business. Come on. The way to go about it is you do a whole bunch of networking and connecting, and then go back 6 months and see who you connected with then, and then start engaging with them. Networking is an ongoing process, a daily grind, unfortunately. You need to get there. You need to get into the habit of doing it. It's an ongoing process. How can you increase your network organically or utilizing faster ways like uploading lists to Gmail contacts and syncing across your devices? It's a long story, but there are ways of being able to network in a more digitized way. But I do talk a little bit later about not trying to always cut corners, being so smart, telling people how you did it so quickly. Always keep in mind why you are networking. You are not looking to make friends. You're looking to get more business in. What kind of content do you want your network to see you sharing? What message are you trying to get across? The message will be different on different social networks. What is the classy frequency of reaching out and sharing content? You don't want to be the kind of person that just shares everything because you think like you're the content passer honor because you're so smart. Wow, look what you're telling everyone. Do you know how many I mean, come on, people just see that as total spam. It's lazy. And anyway, I'm not going to comment. Software that will make your life easier and your business goals attainable. Keep in mind, I wrote this about a month and a half ago. Zoom versus Skype. How digital meetings will make sure you don't waste your time running around and not progressing the business. So my whole thing was you could be more efficient using Zoom. Team Viewer. Okay, so this is the type of software that I use. I don't have any affiliation to these organizations. This is my opinion. Team Viewer for your IT person. If you have an IT person, then if they have Team Viewer, then they can actually help you by logging onto your computer and sorting you out in 2 seconds. Excuse me, we use programs like Slack as well to communicate as a team. Now we're moving over to communicating with some clients like that as well. You need a decent smartphone. You need a decent laptop. You need a solid calendar phone reminder system. There's a program I use called Foxit PDF. What it does is it allows me to sign documents digitally. What a pleasure. I don't have to print stuff out, initial every page. Beautiful. A good understanding of making images look better before posting. I mean, just quality stuff that looks basic video editing and GoPro video skills, or taking videos on your phone, and how to load apps on your phone and your computer. Now, the people that I originally did this for, they have no idea how to load programs onto their computers and their laptop and their phones. And what are we talking about here? A lot of like soft skills. This isn't your hardcore. I know we don't even have that much time. It's been half an hour. So let me just push on. Upskilling yourself is critical to your development. Learning how to take your own videos and being your own production company. Understanding how to run a digital office, which can be mobile and work from anywhere. What cables do you need? Breaking through the uncomfortable stage and learning to enjoy being in a learning phase. The reward of accomplishing a difficult task is what drives you to do it all over again. Who are you competing against? You're competing against people that grew up in this technology age. They're significantly better than you at technology. The whole game has changed. You really need to upskill yourself in all this new stuff. It's not good enough to not be able to do it. You're going to find yourself completely lost. And I believe that's probably the case for a lot of people at the moment. And I'm sorry, this is a terrible scenario. Learning technical university skills versus learning soft skills. As I say, we're talking about soft skills here today. Upskilling means not wasting your spare time reading depressing news. That is not upskilling yourself. Don't fool yourself. Are you stuck in a soup of depression, skinnering about myth subjects? This will cause you to magnetize towards the wrong myth group of friends. How to realign and choose a good icon. You might be looking up to the wrong people. What are the qualities of a good icon? It's very important to look at people that are doing things the right way. You don't want these like sort of hardcore mavericks and I want to be like them. It's going to bomb out. You have to choose. You have to re-choose good icons. Becoming your own advertising agency. If we look at some of the kite surfers, they're putting cameras on their backs. They are an advertising agency. This is the new way of. These are business fundamentals and how to promote yourself as a professional sports person. They're business people. They're not idiots. Running a small business from A to Z. And just one more note on upskilling yourself, or for some reason it's procrastinating. Best advice you'll ever receive in your life is that most things that you procrastinate about will take you 1 minute to do. An example is you drop something behind the couch. I'll leave it. I'll do it another time. If you can get that right and stop what you're doing and do those things quickly, it'll change your life. Also, stop psyching yourself out or mentally preparing before you do something. This will make sure you never actually get started. Running a small business from A to Z, what are the priorities? What you need to have in place to actually phone that first client. This is like bread and butter, basic type stuff. You need a website. Stop psyching yourself out. This is all you need. You need a website. You need contracts with your colleagues and your suppliers in place. You need an email that is at yourbusiness.com. You need to have a brand identity. Don't go too over the top like a logo. You need terms of business to be able to interact with clients. You need a bank account, a business bank account, and you need enough money to survive so that you until you get your first client. Why a minimal viable product is better than a super polished product. It's a long conversation to have, but rather go get your first client and you can always improve the product. It doesn't have to be a bells and whistles type product. Juggling company culture. So running a small business from A to Z, this is the topic. So juggling company culture, investor relations, finances. Now we're still self-funded, but that doesn't mean we don't have investor relations, because we would look to do a round A eventually. Finances, work on the go. So these are things that you're thinking about, your public relations, your marketing, talking to new clients, recruiting more colleagues, what technology to use in the business, being a good leader and an example and a vision for where the company is going. Managing risk between doing something now or waiting until you are ready. It's a tricky one. Minimal viable product. Keeping expenses low and using an outsourced model. Don't have to hire an art department. Not watching the competition. Okay, this is a concept that I don't want to go too much into. It will take long to explain. But you need to be the boogeyman to your competition. They need to be constantly looking behind their shoulders as to what you're doing. What you cannot be doing is watching what they're doing. You need to be their boogeyman. It's a long concept. The most important thing is having paying clients. Everything else is hype. Clients make a business. Always push for more clients and returning clients. You can have a home office or studios. So if you're going to run your own business, having a home office, there's a lot to say there. I think at the moment, everyone's running a home office or home studio. People skills, attracting like-minded colleagues, winning clients, signing deals, and getting paid on time. You need to treat your colleagues like equals. If they succeed, you will succeed together. They must want to work with you forever. Always give the impression that you are somebody they want to be associated with. Dress neatly, speak nicely about others, show them you are focused on future long-term success and not a quick buck. Be generous when splitting the money with your colleagues. Colleagues are not stupid. They notice when you are being greedy. Winning clients means a massive sales and outreach effort. Don't be an order taker. Rather be outspoken. Go out there and be very active. Cut to the chase and sift quickly through the fluff. Don't waste your time unnecessarily on clients who are overly curious but don't want to buy. When looking to sign deals, paint an easy picture to the client of what the process will be like from this conversation that you're having with them to the first digital meeting that you'll have, and then you'll send them the documents together with an engagement letter so you can start working. You need to really paint that picture for them. Otherwise, you're just going to go in circles. Make sure your invoicing system and your terms of payment are sorted so you can invoice and get paid within 7 days. Deciding which clients to trust for payment and which to get a deposit from. It's a very tricky one, that one. As a startup, being ready to walk away instead of getting taken advantage of. That also, very, very tricky. When bringing people into the business, everyone's, I need innovative people. Well, I believe that you don't have too many innovative people. Operational is more important than being too innovative. It is important to have the ability to build. It's like building a house and having amazing fittings, but no infrastructure. Being innovative is not a full-time job. It's to be done in your spare time. Time at work should be operational. Otherwise, you're just walking around the office causing havoc and telling people what to do. The number one thing that you should always aim for is to be top of mind with your clients. If you get that right, you'll get work in. And we've discussed the icons that you should be looking up to. How to be disruptive and use technology to your benefit. The first thing you need to understand is, what is your competition's weakness? Because if you can improve on that, you have something which can be considered disruptive. The second thing is not doing things the way your competition is doing it. You literally need to do the opposite. You cannot be watching your competition at all. Keep in mind that being disruptive has got to do with your competition. You are servicing your industry. You are disrupting your competition's ability to get the clients to buy from them. Being disruptive is not about an attitude of there is enough to go around. Your idea better be so good that you feel you deserve the whole pie. In fact, if your idea doesn't garner that kind of feeling in you, then you are merely just another company in a sea of companies. You're not a disruptor. The right mindset is crucial in realigning those that you work with, not to let the norm mindset kick in. You need to be brave to deal with internal old school approaches and realign their belief that when you hit a stumbling block, you will find a way. The reason the competition didn't disrupt the market is because their default was to take the easy solution. Your gut will tell you that pushing to find the right solution is the only way. Realize that your technology starting point is 1,000,000 times better than your competition's. Was 10 years ago. You can literally compete with the most established companies because their advantage is gone. I mean, there was a time where if you were a partner at a consultancy, you had the Rolodex. That was your biggest selling point. You know, you had the network. Now anyone can go online and find out who the clients are. It takes 2 seconds. So your starting point is significantly better than this. It's very, very encouraging. Getting your message across to existing clients without email campaigns. I mean, email campaigns are shocking. There's so many other ways to be able to interact with your clients. When you're going overseas, you can take your Skype and you can buy a local number. You can reroute your mobile phone. You know, this is about, I think the section was really about how to be disruptive and use technology to your benefit. I mean, to have the ability to be able to, you know, get a Skype number and reroute your mobile phone to a Skype. It means wherever you are in the world, as long as you have an internet connection, if anyone phones you on your mobile phone, it rings on your Skype. Very smart. How to have a successful launch of a product or service. Have your basics covered, but aim for a minimal viable product. Otherwise, you'll never launch. What is a minimal viable product? A brand identity, a website and content, and some website information. Make sure the profile documents look industry standard. You know, you can't be sending around documents with, you know, no look and feel that looks like it's coming from the biggest company that you're competing with. You need to have email addresses, all documents and contracts ready to trade, and an e-commerce or a banking setup. So it just depends on what you're doing. If you're running an e-commerce website, you obviously need that. So when you're launching a product, even though some people think this is the case, there is no big reveal, in my opinion. A successful launch is small reveals to as many people as possible over the first 6 months to a year. Launching a product or business is not about spending money and then sitting back. You're better off spending no money and getting one paying client than casting your net wide and being smart to catch many fish. You have plenty of time to be slick and smart. First, get some paying customers, then look at fast tracking sales. Most people don't like slow sales. then they never get started. Do not be scared of your clients. So let's say you do start bringing clients in. Don't be scared of your clients. Many people hide away from their clients. They're scared to communicate with their clients. Communicate with them, talk to them, ask them. They'll tell you. Do they like your product? Do they have any suggestions for improvements? Can they refer other clients? Now, you also need to generate some hype and non-paid for PR. Non-paid for PR. Do you understand? Very important. What is your story? Why is it a good story? Why will it improve people's lives to hear about what you are doing? What is your vision for what you are trying to create? Very often your story is not what you do, but rather what you represent. What do you stand for? The we believe our product or service is the future of X because of this is probably the most compelling thing people will be attracted to. Making difficult calls is difficult. So, how to launch a product? Well, you need to make very tricky phone calls to your suppliers, but senior people in, your clients, very, very senior. So making difficult calls is difficult. There is an etiquette to taking it on the chin. They might not want to talk to you, most probably. It gets easier, but a punch is still a punch on the chin. The no option, build it one at a time scenario is unavoidable. There are no shortcut scenarios, which most people say, there's no ways I'm doing that. I'm not phoning 1,000 people. The task is too great. When I built the first company, I probably phoned 4,500 people over a few years. I mean, those endless phone calls. The brick and mortar approach is unavoidable, unfortunately. It's a very sharp contrast to it's too much for me to deal with. Too much for me to deal with. I'm not phoning so many people, so senior. It's too much for me to deal with. That, unfortunately, is most people's default. When looking to get stories published, get the editor of the publication on the phone. Tell them you want to find out. So this is about being your own PR company. Tell them you want to find out if they think what your business stands for is newsworthy and get them to agree. They will then refer a reporter or a journalist to you. You can tell them your entire story. Don't overwhelm the editor. Just get a quick vine. Learn to enjoy being the face of the company. Always look neat and professional in pictures or on videos or in person. Hiring a salesperson that's going to, do everything for you, it's not going to happen. You must dress like the CEO of your biggest competitor. Dressing like a newbie or a startup, you'll be treated like a newbie or a startup. Never ever tell your first few clients you are just testing the market to see if they like it. They will walk away. It's the most amazing product or service they will ever buy. Fully tested, plenty of experience and years of development in the making. Full stop. Landing a business or product is not a one big event experience. In most cases, it's a 1-year slog. Launching. Make sure you find out exactly who your paying client is. If you waste your time on anybody but the decision maker, you will get a lot of interest and no customers. I mean, that sounds basic, but unfortunately, one has to say things like this. Always feel like you are doing your clients a favor by telling them about your product or service. If you feel like you are wasting their time, that is how you will come across. Probably the most important point is to make sure you get the point across that the quality of your service matches or is better than what is currently on the market. Then it's just a matter of give us a try, and it's a numbers game. Unfortunately, what you think the number is for approaching prospects, add another 200 before you get 5 to 10 clients. Eventually, these 185 others will come your way when they learn that the other 184 have done so. Your message has to be different and memorable. If you are not getting the following response, well, that sounds really good. Then change your message and reason for buying from you. You have to know exactly why the client should buy from you. Just because you have what they need is not good enough. Rather, don't start trading unless your idea is brilliant. These days, you have to be aiming for amazing. Make yourself available to as many people as possible until people start buying from you. Find out where your customers are and get hold of them. It is as simple as that. Establish credibility. Customers need to feel you are dripping with experience or new age technology which others haven't figured out yet. This is very, very important. Credibility could mean security, fast service, ability to deliver. Whatever they need, they must feel like you are now their new best friend. You also need to be able to handle criticism and not rolling up into a ball when someone tells you you shouldn't do something a certain way. Firstly, that is their opinion and you will not please everyone. Secondly, if they knew what they were talking about, you'd be watching from the sideline while they were doing it. Being a backseat driver is easy and for fools. How to decide what is critical to your business and what is not. In its simplest form, if hit with a crisis and you weren't making any money, what expenses do you have which you cannot get out of? The lean mindset says, try not to have any of these. Rent, salaries, fully stocked departments ready on tap, an IT department, art department, accounting department, marketing department. You can outsource all of these functions and utilize them as required. The key is to hold yourself back when you get bigger, to also remain lean, and you'll be advised to get someone to do that. Being lean is often about weathering the storm and not about, oh, you deserve to have somebody do that for you full time now. If you hit tricky times, which you will, you'll be glad you remained lean. Critical is, we really need this lawyer's document drawn up. It's way too specialized to find a template online and we cannot move forward if we don't get it. Okay, so pay the fees. Non-critical is, we want to expand this product line. Do we do it now or not? It is also very important to be seen by the industry as an equal to the competitors. Getting all your documents to look professional and your website to look nice is critical. The golden rule for what is critical is as follows. I haven't read this since I wrote this a month and a half ago. Let's see. If you have a new client standing in front of you, ready to buy, what do you need? You have to have in place at that moment for the client to be able to sign, use the product or service, be happy, and then pay you. It all centers around the client need. Often people will create the bells and whistles product and have no clients at all. This was the minimal viable product I've spoke about before. Have the basics covered. Get someone to buy and build from there. This also goes to the heart of feeling confident about your service. If you truly believe the client will love your offering, you know all the hoo-ha-ha is not necessary. They don't need to walk through your lavish reception area. You must be in control, knowing you are doing the clients a good deed by making this available to them. After all, you have some key features others don't have right. So don't convince yourself that this is what the clients will want to see and then stress yourself out that you need to be seen as successful. Clients will spot your success coming a mile away. Just make sure you're not arrogant. Confidence is gold. Arrogance is not good at all. The lean mindset is also a lifestyle and habit of learning to do it yourself. So you don't need to have anybody do anything. You can choose to hire someone to do something, but if you have learned many skills, you can run a campaign from start to finish. The problem with years of being too much of a specialist is that you might get left in that box and you can't get out of it. One also needs to understand what is the core product that the client is buying. Fancy packaging, automated processes, slick thank you notes are nice, but they are not core. Some might argue that it's all about that special touch. I do agree with them in some aspects, but very much so, but try to find a balance between being arty and thoughtful and wasting too much energy trying to be flashy without having any paying clients. The work itself, okay, I don't know what that is. I can't read my own handwriting. Things to consider when juggling your business needs. There is nothing more important to consider than how can I get a client to buy from me and pay me. There are other colleagues to consider, how to bring them into the business, get them to see and believe in where you are heading, the messaging to the market, the messaging to internal colleagues, interacting with potential investors. These are all the things that you need to be thinking about. Having all your ducks in a row, which is super admin intensive, or taking some risks. I mean, you can go on forever making sure all your admin stuff's in line. It's a full-time job. Having all your admin in order so you can be onboarded by companies as quickly as possible. Reminding yourself of where you're heading and how to get there, and also deflecting the naysayers. That's a very important point. There'll be so many naysayers that say, oh, you can't do that. You need to remind yourself where you're going. You need to handle the entire PR campaign, staying fit and healthy so that you can think straight, getting good sleep so you can give every day a big shot, working out what is our story and constantly getting that message out. Getting good equipment so you can be efficient, as laptops and all the other stuff, the office environment. Not being able to do everything because some things are absolute priority. Getting clients to buy more of, engage more, will always be higher priority than certain things. So that's the most important thing, is getting clients to buy. Work-life balance. Unfortunately, there is no work-life balance. It must all be about the work. Forget about the holidays, forget about the Sundays while you're chasing, the dream. There is no balance. And maybe it's because I work from home that it's easy for me to be working a lot. Well, because I get to see my family. And the last page, the mindset of the fix-it person. And then I guess I actually squeezed it all in, surprisingly. The mindset of a fix-this person. So what is a fix-this person? Well, fix-this person is learning how to make sure that things run smoothly because you can fix it yourself. So let's say there's a problem that comes up in the business. These are the steps you need to take. This is the mindset of a fix-it person. Getting to the absolute root of the problem. Being sensitive in how you ask, but not faffing around by being scared to ask direct questions. Getting buy-in from the person who is the problem by changing how they are looking at the story. Because they obviously didn't look at it correctly. That's why they made a mistake. Addressing the person who initially communicated with the person who is the problem and highlighting why they were misunderstood. The problem doesn't need to repeat itself. So you need to understand who communicated to the person that made the problem. Well, why was there a misunderstanding? So you need to speak to them as well. And then lastly, giving clear instructions in steps to be taken to get to the desired goal. So that right there, strangely enough, is what I was able to squeeze in. And these are my thoughts on new world, new business fundamentals. In my opinion, there's a couple of carrots over there, and I hope that you've enjoyed watching it. We had some screaming babies, but I think it was a good session. I'm going to end it there. Anyone wants to get hold of me, you're most welcome. Thanks for joining me. I also learned a lot in this session. Thank you very much.